Hi everyone, it's cSapphire, and today I'm going to show you how to shade a shirt like a pro on Paint.net. So first, just make sure you're starting off with the advanced Roblox template, and if you don't have it, I will leave the link below in the description box. So just go ahead and make a layer above your advanced template layer. Now we're going to start the outline. Make sure you pick a color that is very different from the color of the shirt you want to do. So I'm going to be making a light pink shirt, so I'm going to be doing a bright blue outline. So when you're doing the outline, make sure that you do not use the brush tool. We're going to be using the line tool. And make sure that your line width is on 1 or 2. Preferably 1. So when making an outline with the advanced template, I like to only work on one side. And make sure you bring the straps up to the top. And if you're making a crop top, make sure that you put the line a little bit below the middle of the template, about a quarter down from the middle. And make sure you curve the line. Make sure that it's a little bit straight in the middle and then it curves upwards towards the edge. So now take your line tool and put it to the dotted setting. We're going to be making the stitching on the inside of the shirt. Make sure that you leave enough room between the main outline and the stitching. And just do the same on the bottom. Now I'm just gonna erase any pixels. Now you're just gonna take that side and copy and paste it over. You can use CTRL-C and CTRL-V, or you can use the copy and paste buttons at the top. Now I'm just gonna work on the side. Now you're gonna copy the top of the torso and you're going to bring it to the back. Don't put it down all the way, but just enough so that it shows a little bit. And we're doing this to make sure that the straps line up. Now just go ahead and add another layer below your outline layer, and you're going to start with the base. So just select the color of the shirt you want to make and begin painting under the outline. It doesn't have to be neat because we can erase the edges later. Now select your outline layer and just start messing around with the hue and saturation. This is why I made the outline bright blue. That way I can mess around with it and make it darker or brighter if I need to. So just mess around with it until it's to your liking. Now make sure you duplicate your outline layer. Now go to the Gaussian blur. And I put the first outline layer blur on 3. And now select the second outline layer that you duplicated and just put that to 1. As you can see, the lines look a lot softer, but they're not over blurred, so you can still see them. And you can also adjust the opacity if you need to. I felt that mine was a little bit too dark, so I put mine down to around 160. Now we're going to add a little bit of texture to our shirt. So go to the noise setting and turn the color saturation down all the way. And then you're going to also turn down the intensity. That way it doesn't look too staticky, but it still has some texture to it. And as you can see, it has the texture of a t-shirt. Go ahead and make your shading layer and then select the base color and make it darker than the base. And you'll also have to mess around with the colors because it won't always be just turning down the brightness on the color you selected. You might have to actually change the color. So as you can see, that color is a good match, but it's just way too dark. So you're going to turn the opacity down of your paintbrush and just mess around with it and make sure that it's not too translucent, but you also don't want it to be too dark. So I set mine to 62 and that was a perfect match for me. So when you're shading, you want to use fast hand motions. You don't want your hand to be too heavy on your pen or mouse, and you don't want to be slow either because it won't create smooth, fast lines. So as you can see, I'm just moving my mouse very quickly, and that's not the actual shading I'm doing, I'm just showing it as an example on how fast you should move your mouse. So now I'm going to set my brush width to 2, and I'm going to start shading so you guys can just watch and see how I do it. So as you can see, the shading looks a little bit harsh, so I'm going to go ahead and Gaussian blur it, and I blurred it to around 3. And create a layer above the shading layer for highlights. Then you're going to get your color picker and just select the base color again and make it brighter. So when you're doing highlights, you want to put the highlights right above the shading. This will create the illusion of a wrinkle. So now you're just gonna Gaussian blur the highlights, just like we did with the shading. Now we're going to do another shading layer, so create a new layer above our first shading layer and make the color darker than what we shaded with before. And I'm going to put my brush width to 7 and turn the opacity down to around 10 and 15 to make an airbrush effect. Now you're going to make a layer above the highlights layer, and you're going to select your line tool and use the white color. And you're just going to create lines in between our main outline layer and between the stitching that we did. And just go ahead and adjust the opacity on the lines we just did. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add noise to the shading and highlights layers so it all blends together. And now we are done with the shirt. I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful, but if you have any questions about anything I did in the video, just feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what other designing tutorials you want me to do. Thank you for watching, guys.